there is quite a fair bit of damage, which we've seen firsthand. But yeah, go ahead.
There is some damage. The really biggest part of the damage is to the military targets, just as it was announced. Again, we've seen many fake videos and many fake images. Unfortunately, I can't broadcast them to you because, for obvious reasons, I can't access your screen. I don't even see what's going on on the broadcast right now.
Right.
But, however, look, the Ukrainian side dragged out these talks for as long as they could. They've been offered negotiations from day one. Now, as you've rightly said, this is day 5, and they were dragging out this process since yesterday. Yesterday, the Russian delegation almost left Belarus because the Ukrainians were not responding. Now we've waited another almost 24 hours to actually see them finally arrive to the table.
Yes.
And the president isn't even there because he's plainly, well, it looks like he's incredibly afraid to set foot in Belarus for reasons that are, that are speculative, to say the least. We've seen the president literally say, we're not going to put down arms. He said it in the video that he recorded yesterday, that he broadcast on his Instagram. I would like to think that these are going to be real talks by our Ukrainian neighbors, that they're actually ready to talk about exactly what the president has claimed and has said many times now. We're talking about denazification. And again, the president of Ukraine, who asks the people to take up arms, who uses people as human shields, who puts missile launches inside residential areas. I'm sorry, but how can we say that there are no Nazi formations, there are no ultranationalists in power in Ukraine after these pictures?
Okay, we've
unfortunately
got some,
not showing.
Yes, we've got some live pictures of President Zelensky on our screen. We'll go to it once we have a translation. But Tatiana, also, one cannot ignore the fact that these talks are going to happen hours after President Putin of Russia has, placed Russia's nuclear arsenal on high alert, the regime of special duty, as it's called. Can you explain why that's happened? Because that's just made this entire crisis much bigger than it already is. It involves the entire world right now. It's probably triggered a wave of response actions as well. Why has it happened right now, in your view?
It has involved the whole world when the whole world decided to send military lethal aid to Ukraine, didn't it? The US has announced that they're sending in more troops into Poland. They're sending in more troops. They're actually sending troops into Ukraine. There were reports of them deciding to send, and they have been sending lethal aid for years now. They have been sending money to this regime for years now. The latest shipment that happened even before this conflict broke out, this latest escalation broke out before Russia was forced to launch this operation by the escalation in Donbass. Again, the latest shipment in January was 91 ton. Or what was it? It was 20 lakh pounds, easier for Indian viewers to understand, of lethal aid. That means missiles, that means something that you kill people with. The whole world has been involved in the Ukrainian crisis since day one. And right now we see the European nations that are saying, well, look, let's end the hostilities. And on the other hand, with one hand, they're saying, let's end these hostilities. On the other hand, they're sending in massive amounts of lethal aid, of missiles, of missile launches, of military planes. Is that really the way to end any sort of hostilities?
Okay. One last question, Tatiana, before I let you go for the moment. Has the end game changed at all in the last 5 days? Not a rhetorical question, but, the whole NATO factor, as far as Ukraine is concerned, the view from the outside is that Russia wants regime change in Ukraine to remove President Zelensky, for NATO to be off the table as far as Ukraine is concerned, and to return to being peaceful neighbors. Is that still the end game, and is that achievable, given everything we've seen?
Of course, it is the end game, and of course, the Ukraine having nothing to do with NATO has been. You can't even call it endgame. This has been something that Russia has been demanding since I don't even remember which year. Literally,
yep.
since NATO has started expanding eastward, and obviously in this essence, since the illegal coup d'état that happened in 2014, that was the only thing, one of the two only things that we've actually demanded. That we was talking about red lines, the president spoke about those red lines on numerous occasions. The other thing that has been on the table since day one is stopping hostilities against Russian-speaking population in the Donbass region, which have been, look, the UN says, and those are, claims by the UN that we can't, unfortunately, again, verify, because there's so much disinformation coming from Ukrainian side that there are around 300 civilian victims. Again, all of the destruction is by default blamed on the Russian side. In the meantime, we know for a fact that Ukrainian missile launchers are in residential areas, and there is no possible way to verify that those strikes were coming strictly from the Russian side. On the other hand, the only thing that was necessary for those 8 years was an end to violence, an end to bloodshed. That's claimed over 10,000 people, not 300, over 10,000, and that the whole world magically forgot about the moment that Russia recognized those republics, completely forgot about the fact that there were guarantors of the peace, which never happened. In Donbass, there were European guarantors, this is France and Germany, who were supposed to pressure Kiev into stopping the fighting, stopping the shelling, stopping the deaths, the deaths of civilian population. They were not even saying that they were, just hitting military targets. They were hitting civilian areas. This was happening for 8 years, and everybody, every single person on the face of the planet just magically forgot this even happened. Is that achievable? Well, that's down to the Ukrainian side, isn't it? Because again, if you look at the signs, they dragged out those talks. I hope that they're ready to actually talk. However, right now, with the president's video yesterday that he recorded calling up for Ukrainians to not lay down arms, confirming that he is in Kiev and that Ukraine is not going to lay down arms. This is the translation you were looking for.
Okay.
Look, I was born in Moscow, but I spent a lot of time in Crimea. Literally consider Sevastopol my second native city. So I do understand Ukrainian. It doesn't look like the Ukrainian side wants to talk. Whereas, is it achievable or not? It's down to our European partners to remember what we're here to do. We're here to install a peaceful government in Kiev.